Good morning. I'm a visual artist and writer and built the Veterans Book Project, is what I'm going to talk about today. And it's a growing library of books that's authored by soldiers, family members, people who are experiencing the current US-led wars. Because of 5 minutes, I thought I would pass out some of the books that you can just hold and look at briefly, and then they could reconvene back at my spot. There are 30 books so far, and I just came out of the first year of traveling around the country making the books with each author. One book, this book is by Juliet Madsen, and she was a medic in Iraq, and her book is dedicated, she writes her book for her family, as she says, who she drugged to war with her through her strokes and injuries and traumatic brain injury that they all need to learn to deal with. Those are how she describes it. Another book is by Drew Cameron, who also is an Iraq War veteran, and he, some of you may know him, he has another project too, and he never fired a shot, but sometimes wanted to. This book is by Marianne Rich, who was a nurse and is a 36-year Army career nurse, and she worked in an operating room in Iraq. This book is by Nancy and Riley Charbonneau, a mother and son. He's a war veteran, and she is his mother, and they wrote their book together. This book is by Pamela Olson, who writes about military sexual trauma and her experience with it after 25 years of being silent. They go on and on. They're the authors because I believe they can be the experts of their, and are the experts of their own experiences. It starts out by I listen, and they listen to themselves as well. Together, we then edit and design their materials so that other people can see and witness too. We use inside the books are their images, their text. They can be from emails or journal entries or a faulty hard drive that's completely full or amnesia. Really all the material we have is a design opportunity for us. And we use the very kind of traditional linear qualities of the book, like being read from left to right, books that have pages, books that open, as a sort of a structure for us that we then often kind of turn inside out. Having the structure can provide us more freedom sometimes. So one of the questions I'm always asking myself is, how does the book both limit and also liberate human experience? This whole library started with one person and one book. His name is Riley Charbonneau, and I contacted him in 2005. At that point, we were 2 years into the war, and I had recently came back to the United States to kind of spend time in my own country, being here, getting to know it. And we were 2 years into the war, and I just wasn't seeing it. I wasn't hearing about it. So I first needed to start connecting myself to people who were fighting in it and experiencing it and see what they had to say. So the first connection was about myself. And I could tell you a lot about that book. It's a 500-page tome in a way. So I won't, because we have 5 minutes. The books themselves are made in 2-week workshops that I run around the United States. And there are a team of people at each workshop that include other writers, editors. There's a counselor at each workshop or on call. And the workshop can be adapted, and it has for different groups of people and different authors, from if someone wants to run it one-on-one or with different, like I said, different authors and their needs. And then we organize the material into software that I designed based on what I was hearing that has a design template. And then the author each deploys the book themselves first. Their audience and their community are really the first audience. So that often is family and friends, and the books are invitation for conversation among them. And then the authors really, the amazing thing is they have become very activated by the books. So they now give their own lectures, have had their books reviewed, do interviews. One author whose brother was killed while disarming an IED in combat, he just recently curated a show after reading the whole library. So ultimately what I'm trying to build is a community of readers and authors who become readers themselves and exchange information. There's a website. It's theveteransbookproject.com. It has all the books for purchase that are at printing costs and also PDF downloads. And I'm excited to talk to all of you about your work and how our work crosses.